If you depend on computers and software, ViaGrafix video training is the right choice for you. When you use video training, you learn faster, retain more, and perform better at your computer. And best of all, less time at your computer means more time for you and the things that are really important. Why bother with expensive seminars and time-consuming classes? You can get the best training available anywhere, at home, in the office, or anywhere you have a VCR. If you're a beginner, our easy-to-follow tapes start with the fundamentals of your program and then teach you the most commonly used features. You'll become more confident and productive after watching just one time. And if at any time you don't understand a section or want to review, with ViaGrafix video training, it's as easy as rewinding the tape. If you're an experienced user, you already know how valuable a tool your computer can be. ViaGrafix training tapes are the perfect way to get the most from your software. Our training videos show you how to fine-tune the options, update technical information, and take the features you already use an added step further, all in an easy-to-understand way. Word processing, desktop publishing, business graphics, computer-aided design. You can learn quickly and effectively. You might expect to pay hundreds of dollars for the comprehensive computer training we've just described, but here's the best part. Our tapes start at just $29.95. If you use computers, decide today to make your life better. Just call 1-800-842-4723 and order your videos now. The sooner you use video training, the sooner you can put your computer to work for you. And the sooner you can be on your way to the flexibility and productivity that will give you the time for the things you really enjoy. Call 1-800-842-4723. That's 1-800-ViaGraph. Get started today.
Now, more than ever, keeping up with the world means keeping up with computer technology and software. ViaGrafix, the leader in video training services, is proud to present this video tutorial. WordPerfect for your laser printer. Now your instructors, Kurt Gwartney and Catherine Sparks.
Hello and welcome to this video tutorial, WordPerfect and your laser printer. I'm Catherine Sparks along with Kurt Gwartney.
The laser printer has become the standard by which all other printers are measured. The introduction of affordable laser printers has changed the way many businesses and individuals view computer printing.
WordPerfect combined with a laser printer is a powerful communication tool. In this training session, we'll focus on how WordPerfect works with your laser printer.
For the purposes of this tape, we'll assume you're using WordPerfect version 5.1 on a hard disk drive computer system. We also assume you have a working knowledge of WordPerfect.
We'll concentrate on the most popular laser printer family, the Hewlett-Packard LaserJet 2 and compatibles. Most of the information for these printers will apply to other laser printer types.
A laser printer gets its name because it uses a light to print. The light moves across an electrostatic drum. Eventually, the drum will contain the entire image of the page. The parts of the drum that are now electrically charged will pick up the black plastic powder called toner and transfer it onto the paper. This explanation is simplistic, but you really don't have to know how a laser printer works to get the most from it. These examples were all printed using a laser printer. As you can see, the laser printer can be used for all types of projects, from routine business correspondence, to flyers, to newsletters, to advertisements. WordPerfect and your laser printer are tools limited only by your imagination. There are some examples of WordPerfect produced documents on your learning disk. They all have the three-letter extension DOC.
The first step to creating documents like these is selecting a laser printer for use with WordPerfect.
We will install our printer from within the WordPerfect program. For this procedure, we normally need the printer files disks. We enter the Shift F7 print menu. Then we choose Additional Printers number 2 or A. We get a listing of the printers we can select from that already have printer files formed. If we don't see the printer we need here, we insert our Printer 1 diskette into the floppy drive and can select Other Disk and type in the location of the printer files. We'll go ahead and go down our current list and select the printer we want. If your printer is not listed, you can usually find a printer listing that your printer will emulate or copy. Many laser printers will emulate a member of the Hewlett-Packard LaserJet 2 family. Check your printer documentation to see if this is true for your printer. If you have trouble finding the printer on any of the printer diskettes, call WordPerfect for assistance. In our case, the file for our printer, the Hewlett-Packard LaserJet Plus, is already on the hard drive. We'll select it. After choosing this printer, the program asks if we need to pick another. We don't. When we leave the listing of printers, we're taken to a help screen. Ours does not have any information. Depending on the printer, this screen will have printer hints that can save valuable time. As you can see, the printer selection process is fairly easy in WordPerfect. You may want to select a printer that is not hooked up to your computer. By selecting your office laser printer on your home computer, you can easily transfer and print documents between systems.
If you're unfamiliar with some of the basic procedures we're using in WordPerfect, you might want to view the Journey Through WordPerfect training series. Now that we have a laser printer selected, we need to define some key laser printer terms.
We will use the word font throughout this tape. Fonts are one of the reasons laser printers are so special. A font is a complete set of characters of a single typeface in the same size, style, and weight. Notice we use the word typeface in defining a font. A typeface is the overall look, or artistic design, of a character set. There are 3 basic categories of typefaces: serif, sans serif, and decorative. Here are some different examples of typefaces. On the top is a serif typeface. Serifs are the short lines crossing the ending strokes of the letters. This is a sans serif typeface called Swiss. Sans serif typefaces do not have the extra lines at the end of the characters. It's easier to see the difference between serif and sans serif typefaces when we mix the 2 types together. These examples represent the 3rd general category: decorative typefaces. These typefaces can add a needed punch to a laser printed document, but their use is usually limited to special situations. We've already given the textbook definition of font. Now let's look at some examples. Here is an example of a small Swiss font and a larger Swiss font. A font should have a size, typeface, and style to be completely defined. The smaller one is the same typeface, but is actually a different font because it is a different size. Remember, a typeface is the family of type. In the Swiss typeface and in others, we have multiple fonts of different sizes and styles. The style of type means is it italic or Roman. Italic type is slanted like this example. Roman type, however, is straight up and down. In other words, not italic. Be careful with the use of the word Roman. Roman type also means a typeface based on ancient Roman lettering with serifs. To define a font, we have to have the size of the type. Type is measured in points. There are 72 points in an inch, so 72-point type is 1 inch high. Most type used for large blocks of text, like books, is from 8 to 12 points in size. We can see how different point sizes relate to each other in the same typeface. In this case, our Swiss typeface again. Weight is another factor in defining a font. Weight tells us how dark or light a character is. Fonts are referred to as light, normal, medium, or bold in some cases. But we also have fonts that are extra light and even extra bold. There are thousands of typefaces available to the WordPerfect and laser printer user. The number of typefaces has increased with the popularity of laser printers.
We've talked a lot about fonts and what they are. Some of the terms may seem difficult to understand, but as you continue to work with WordPerfect and your laser printer, you'll grow more comfortable with the new words.
The best way to see how fonts, WordPerfect, and your laser printer work together is to use them, and that's what we'll do next. First, let's retrieve the document letter.txt from the ViaGrafix Learning Diskette. Next, we'll make sure we have the correct laser printer selected by pressing Shift F7. In our case, we do have the Hewlett-Packard LaserJet Plus, our laser printer. We'll check the base font for this letter by pressing S for Select Printer. At the next menu, we make sure our laser printer is highlighted and then press 3 or E for Edit. Number 5 on this list shows us the initial base font currently selected. In this case, Courier 10 CPI, or Courier 10 characters per inch. This font is one built into our laser printer. WordPerfect knows this and automatically selects it as the base font. This is the font that our documents will print in until we tell WordPerfect to do otherwise. But how do we get other fonts to use in our laser printer? There are 3 sources for selecting fonts from Hewlett-Packard compatible laser printers. We can have built-in internal fonts, cartridge fonts, and soft fonts. Internal fonts are the easiest to use because they're built into the printer by the manufacturer. The internal font choices are always there unless we tell WordPerfect we don't want to use them. Cartridges are sometimes called hard fonts. These fonts come in a cartridge that fit into a slot on the printer. There are many different cartridges with multiple fonts available from laser printer and third-party manufacturers. One advantage of cartridge fonts is that they don't take up any internal memory on the laser printer. These fonts are stored on your hard drive and must be sent to the printer before they can be used. There are thousands of soft fonts available from a variety of manufacturers. We will go through the installation of 2 of the more popular soft font packages, one from Bitstream and the other from Agfa, in just a moment. Let's return to the computer now and learn more about how fonts are selected by WordPerfect. We choose the Shift F7 print menu and S for Select Printer. We'll then make sure our laser printer is highlighted. We select number 3 or E for Edit. This menu lets us tell WordPerfect how we want it to work with our printer. Here we can change several options, including the name of the printer. We can select a different printer port. This is where the printer hooks into the computer. If we add a sheet feeder, we also tell WordPerfect here. We'll be spending some time on option 4. Cartridges and fonts in just a moment. We've already looked at number 5, the initial base font. And number 6 tells WordPerfect where to look for the files that contain soft fonts. We'll begin working with fonts by choosing number 4 or C for cartridges and fonts. From this menu we see the 3 different font categories: built-in, cartridges, and soft fonts. At the right of the menu are 2 columns, Quantity and Available. Below this is a note on fonts. WordPerfect wants you to know that most fonts other than those built into the printer need to be purchased separately. There is also information on soft fonts that we'll look at in a few moments. We'll select a cartridge font first by highlighting it with the cursor. Notice the number 1 is listed in the Quantity and Available column in a line with cartridges. For our printer, the LaserJet Plus, we have only 1 cartridge slot we can use. The Available column tells us how many cartridge slots we have left to use. In our case, the numbers read 1 and 1. When we press Enter, we're given a list of currently available cartridges for our printer. We highlight the cartridge we want to use and press Enter. An asterisk or star sign is placed in front of the cartridge listing selected to show that the fonts in that cartridge are available when the print job begins. Notice how the available quantity number near the top right of the screen changed when we selected a cartridge. The available category is now 0. When we exit this menu, we're taken back to the Select Printer, Cartridges and Fonts screen. Notice the numbers have also changed here under the Available heading. We'll exit from this menu until we're at the WordPerfect editing screen. Now let's change our base font from the Control F8 menu. Notice we have additional listings other than the built-in laser printer fonts. You can see how easy cartridge fonts are to use. You just plug the cartridge into the laser printer, tell WordPerfect which cartridge you're using, and then go.
Cartridges are easy to use, but they generally limit the number of font choices. With soft fonts, however, we have nearly unlimited flexibility in the number and types of fonts. Soft fonts are also less expensive than cartridges.
But there are some disadvantages to using soft fonts. These disk-based fonts take up space on your hard drive and in your laser printer's memory. They can also slow down the printing process because the font files have to be sent to the printer's memory before they're used. We will install two of the more popular soft font packages used with WordPerfect. First, we'll install the Bitstream Facelift software. Then we'll install Agfa's Type Director. The Swiss and Dutch typefaces included in the starter kit are two of the more popular typefaces available. If you're using a PostScript printer, you probably won't need to add these two Bitstream typefaces. They are already built into most PostScript printers under different names. We begin this process at a DOS C prompt. We first insert the Facelift utility disk number 1 into our floppy disk drive. In this case, it is the A drive. We enter A: to activate the A drive, and then enter FL Setup and press the Enter key. We quickly see this copyright screen and are then taken to this Setup screen. We can change any information that is incorrect here. We have the WordPerfect program name. We press the down arrow key and see our WordPerfect printer directory. The last item is the Bitstream font outline directory, C:\BT fonts. When this information is correct, we press F10 to accept it. Now we're asked to make a new subdirectory, and we go ahead and do this. Files are now copied from the diskette to the hard drive. When this process is completed, we're taken to the printer selection screen. We will install an HP LaserJet or compatible printer. We press F10 and then choose the printer we want, in this case the HP LaserJet Plus. We press F10 to accept this, and now we answer the questions on this screen. Our printer is not shared on a network or a switch box, so the defaults are okay. Our printer port is also correct. We do have more memory in our printer, in this case 1 megabyte. We're also asked for our point size for the graphics mode. We will use the default of 20 and press F10. When we're finished selecting printers, we highlight the last option and press F10, and the new printer is now on our screen. Now we're asked to place the Typeface 1 disk into the floppy disk drive and press F10 to continue. The Typeface files are then copied from the diskette onto the system's hard disk drive. We will speed things up a bit for the purposes of this demonstration. Now we take out our first Typeface diskette and insert the second one. When this process is complete, the message, "The typefaces have been moved to the hard disk, press any key," appears. The system then scans for typefaces and processes the files. This procedure is automatic, but it does take some time. We see a list of the typefaces at the left of the screen that Facelift must work through. The system also updates our WordPerfect printer files. When it is through, we're told the WordPerfect update is completed. We remove our Facelift disks from the drive and press a key to return to DOS. At the DOS prompt, we change our directory to WP51 by entering cd\WP51. We will run Facelift and WordPerfect in foreground mode. To do this, we enter FLWP and press Enter. DOS loads Facelift into memory and then loads WordPerfect. From our Edit screen, we call up the printer menu by holding down the Shift key and pressing F7. We choose S, select Printer from the Options menu. Here we see a list of the printers currently available on our system. We highlight our HP LaserJet definition and choose number 3 or E for Edit. We need to tell WordPerfect about our new Facelift fonts, so we pick option 4, Cartridges and Fonts. We highlight soft fonts here and then press Enter. Here we see a list of the font groups for the printer. The Facelift group is highlighted, so we press Enter. Now we have a listing on the Soft Fonts menu. These are called fonts here, but are actually typefaces. We can place an asterisk or star Shift 8 to indicate that a font is present when the print job begins. A plus sign tells us the font can be loaded during the print job. We will mark all of the Bitstream Facelift fonts with an asterisk. To deselect the typeface, we can highlight it and then press the backspace key or press the star key again. With Facelift, we fool WordPerfect into thinking that all of the marked typefaces are permanently installed in our laser printer. Facelift actually creates and downloads the fonts on the fly. Here we see an example of each of the typefaces in our Facelift package. Here we have Swiss Roman. This is Swiss Italic. The next typeface is Swiss Bold. And we also have Swiss Bold Italic. We have a Dutch Roman typeface, Dutch Italic, Dutch Bold, and Dutch Bold Italic. Facelift also comes with Park Avenue. This is a decorative typeface. And we have Bitstream Cooper Black, Brush Script, Formal Script 421, and Monospace 821. The next three are symbol typefaces. We have ITC Zap Dingbats, Symbol Monospaced, and Symbol Proportional. These typefaces will be enough for some WordPerfect users. However, we can purchase additional typefaces from Bitstream for Facelift. Now we press F7 Exit 3 times to save our selections. The fonts are quickly updated, and we're returned to the Select Printer Edit menu. At this point, we can name an initial base font with option 5 or F for font. When we select 5, we are taken to our typeface listing. We choose the one we want, in this case Dutch Roman. We press Enter and we input our default point size at the bottom of the screen. We will accept 12 by pressing Enter. Now we'll exit until we're back at our editing screen. We'll go ahead now and exit WordPerfect, returning us to the DOS prompt.
We'll actually use the new fonts in creating a document in just a few moments. But first we're going to look at one more font creation package.
We will start with our computer at a DOS prompt. We will install the Type Director package from AGFA. We first insert the disk labeled Type Director 1 in the appropriate source drive. Once again, we will use the A drive for our demonstration. We enter the drive letter, a colon, and then type install and press Enter. The first installation screen tells us what we must have or do to install the program. To continue, we type Y for yes. Next, we're shown a default directory where Type Director will be installed. This is okay, so we'll accept it by pressing Enter. We're given another chance to change our mind about the directory. We want to continue, so we type C. The next question is about our monitor. We have a color monitor, so we type Y for yes. The program then starts copying files from the source disk to the hard drive. The program will ask us to insert the other program disk and press the space bar to continue the installation process. While the installation continues, we'll discuss using the 3 font types efficiently. Some WordPerfect and laser printer users depend solely on soft fonts or cartridges, while others stick strictly to internal fonts, and others have developed creative ways of combining the 3.
There are several different plans or strategies you could follow. We use the built-in Courier typeface in our printer for most routine correspondence. We also depend on this typeface for printing rough drafts. Using Courier speeds up our printing jobs since the printer doesn't have to wait for a font to be downloaded.
We've already told you that cartridges are not as flexible as soft fonts. One way to combine the two for efficient laser printing is to use a cartridge that contains fonts you frequently use. We'll go ahead and update our config.sys. Now Type Director is installed and we reboot our computer. We first make sure we're in the Type Director directory. Then we type TD and press Enter. The program loads and we're automatically taken to the main menu. The program has the Fonts menu and Make Fonts highlighted. The first thing we need to do is set up the environment for Type Director. We move to the Environment menu by pressing the left arrow key and pressing Enter. We are using a VGA monitor, so we press Enter and select the new monitor. Next, we choose the printer we're using. We press Enter and then select the HP LaserJet Plus. Our printer port is LPT1, so we can move under the available applications by pressing the down arrow key until the unlisted application is highlighted. We press Enter to see a listing of applications or programs we can choose from. We move down to WordPerfect version 5.0 5.1 and press Enter. Now the cursor is in the Symbol Set column. There are several symbol sets to choose from. We'll press Enter to see the list. We can find the characters in these symbol sets in the appendix of the Type Director manual. Not all of the symbol sets can be used by the LaserJet Plus printer. We'll stick with the default for now of DT, or desktop. The Roman 8 or R8 character set is another one that's good to select for use with WordPerfect. We'll now move over one on our menu to typefaces. First, we need to install our typefaces. We press Enter and then insert one of our typeface diskettes that came in the Type Director package. We will put the CG Times IntelliFont disk in first. We then type in the source drive. In our case, A is correct, so we press F3 and Enter. We can see from the function key listing at the bottom of the screen that F3 is the key to press to read our diskette. The 4 typefaces on this diskette are now listed. They are all part of the Times family. We have CG Times, CG Times Italic, CG Times Bold, and CG Times Bold Italic. To select the typeface, we highlight the ones we want by pressing Enter. Notice an asterisk or star appears before each typeface name. We then press F1 to install the typefaces. We will only install the CG Times typeface for the purposes of our demonstration. You can install the other typefaces on the CG Times diskette if you wish. Now we see on our screen the typeface the program is installing at the current time. If we need to cancel the installation process for any reason, we can press F8. This process does take a bit of time. Once again, remember, the Times typeface we're installing here is the same as the Dutch typeface we created using the Bitstream program. When the typeface installation is complete, we press Escape to continue. We will install a typeface from the Universe typeface diskette. We follow the same process as before. We press F3 to read the diskette. Next, we highlight Universe Medium. This is the only typeface we'll install from this diskette, though there are 4 others we can install. We press Enter and then press F1. Once we have Type Director installed on our hard drive, we can add other fonts available from Hewlett-Packard. We'll talk about ordering these different fonts in a few moments. We're finished with the Install Typefaces menu. Let's move on by pressing F8 to exit. Now we highlight the Fonts menu and select Make Fonts. To choose our typeface from this menu, we press Enter while the highlight bar is under Typeface. We'll select CG Times by pressing Enter. We're then taken to the Point Sizes column. Here we first press Enter and then type in the size of the fonts we want to create. As an example, we'll only create a 12-point font. However, we could enter any of the point sizes we want here. We can press the right arrow key until we are taken to the Device column. Here we tell the program to make printer or screen fonts, or both. With WordPerfect, we only need printer fonts, so we leave the default at P. We move to the right again to select the orientation of our fonts. By pressing Enter here, we're given the choice of the default Portrait, or Landscape, or both. We'll choose both Portrait and Landscape by moving the cursor down and pressing Enter. And finally, we have a choice of symbol sets. We'll stay with the default. We are back at the Typefaces column. We press Enter and get the list of 2 typefaces. We select Universe Medium. Under Point Sizes, let's choose a 10-point and 12-point. We put a space between the 2 different font sizes. This time, we'll accept all the defaults for device, orientation, and symbol set. Notice at the bottom of the screen we're given an estimate of the disk space required to create our fonts. In this case, we've only selected 87K of fonts. This will leave us with 8.2 meg on our hard drive. After all our characteristics are set, and we know we have enough disk space, we can press F1 to begin making fonts. To cancel the font building, we press F8. The program gives us a visual representation of the font making process. By reading the information just below the information bar, we are able to check what we've entered. This is an easy way to double-check what we're doing. If, for instance, we entered the wrong printer definition, we could catch it here and cancel the process. When the fonts have been made, the computer will tell us with a message that font making was completed successfully. We then press Escape to continue. We can go ahead and press F8 to leave this menu and return to the main menu. We're basically finished here as far as the font building goes. One important item to know about before leaving this program is how to delete fonts. It is best to use the font making programs to get rid of the fonts instead of using a DOS delete command. Under Fonts, we move the cursor to List Delete Fonts and press Enter. The program will read our font directory and make the list. We already have similar fonts from our Bitstream package, so we can delete these. We press F2 and Enter. And now we highlight all the fonts. When there is an asterisk or star in front of the fonts we want to get rid of, we press F1 to begin deleting the fonts. The program double-checks by asking us if we want to delete the marked fonts. We do, so we move the cursor to Yes and press Enter. When everything is finished, we press F8 twice and then answer Yes. We do want to leave Type Director. The program then updates the WordPerfect All files.
We've mentioned that thousands of soft fonts are available from a variety of manufacturers. Kurt has some information for us on a few of the biggest soft font suppliers and their prices.
Now that you have two of the more popular font management programs on the hard drive, you'll probably want to expand your font library. You can do this for a relatively modest fee. Both companies normally include information about ordering additional fonts in their software packages. These inserts will sometimes contain special offers that allow the user to purchase several fonts at bargain rates. Single family typefaces for Facelift from Bitstream cost $129. Most of these contain 4 styles, such as Roman, Italic, Bold, and Bold Italic. Bitstream also has specials from time to time. When we called, they were offering 24 Facelift typefaces in a package called the Companion Value Pack. This set of fonts sells for $199. Agfa's typeface family packages cost $99 each. Most of these packages also contain 4 styles. Agfa also offers specially priced packs containing 3 or 4 type families. They are grouped for specific purposes, such as office communications and a publications pack. The use of software-based fonts and laser printers has revolutionized the publishing industry. Projects that used to require long hours of manual typesetting and paste up by graphics professionals can now be done with a computer and a laser printer in an afternoon.
Now that we've installed fonts and have a basic understanding of how they work, let's use them to create a few documents with WordPerfect.
We've retrieved the Learning Disk file letter.txt into WordPerfect. There are several plain text files on the disk, all with the extension txt. We use these as practice files while learning to use the laser printer. Our goal for this example is to create a letterhead for this letter. Let's view the document using the Shift F7, V, or 6 command for view. It looks pretty plain. To begin working with the letter, we first make sure we're at the very top of it by pressing the Home key 3 times and the up arrow key once. Next, we select a new base font. We need the letterhead to be fairly large, so from the Control F8 menu we choose 4 or F for base font. We want a serif typeface, Dutch in this case, and we want it bold. Now we enter our point size, in this case 24 point. We then press enter and exit the menus until we're back at the main editing screen. Now we can type the name of our company, ViaGrafix. We do not press enter after typing the name. Laser printers let us combine graphic elements like lines and boxes with text. Let's put a line beneath the ViaGrafix. For this, we use the Alt F9 Graphics menu. We choose number 5 or L for line. We then select 1 or H for horizontal. The next screen shows us the default settings. We'll accept these by pressing enter. Now let's view what we have so far. Here we see the ViaGrafix in big letters at the top of the paper with a line beneath it. Let's return to the main editing screen and select a smaller font of the same typeface, Dutch Bold. This time we want the 14-point size. After doing this, we need to press enter. We will place the address of the company on the far right side of the paper using the Alt F6 or flush right command. We then type 31 South Adair and press enter. Let's view this and see how it looks. This is looking okay. Our line is a little close to our lettering of ViaGrafix, but we'll leave that for now. We then continue with the address by pressing Alt F6 again, and then we type Pryor, Oklahoma 74361. When we're finished entering this, we press enter. This is looking okay for our example, but notice the rest of our letter is now written in 14-point Dutch Bold type. We can change this by selecting the Courier 10 CPI font built into our laser printer. We view the letter again, and everything is now in its place at the correct size. Now let's print this document. We press Shift F7 and 1 or F for full document. We will quickly go to the Shift F7, 4 or C control printer screen. And here we see that our document is printing. Facelift is actually downloading fonts, though it doesn't show up here. If we were using a type director font, it would show the font downloading. As soon as these facelift fonts are in the laser printer memory, the laser printer will begin printing. You can see how easy it is to combine soft fonts from your hard drive with the built-in laser printer fonts for a single document.
WordPerfect gives us an easy way to select different fonts, even if we know very little about fonts and how they work. We can use the Control F8 font menu to change type without going to the base font menu.
We have retrieved another text file called plan.txt. We first decide on the font we want to use for the body copy. We'll go through the Format Shift F8 menu and select 3 or D for document. Next we choose the initial font, 3 or F. We then use the cursor key to highlight Dutch Bold, and we'll make this the 12-point size. We will exit back to our document on the main editing screen. We're going to make the headings and subheadings in this document different sizes, without actually naming fonts. We first block define the top line. Next, we press Ctrl F8. Then we choose 1 or S for size, and we make this extra large. Now we move to the first subheading, Location, and block define it. We'll go through the Ctrl F8 size menu and make this very large. And we'll do the same thing for the next heading, Kitchen. We first block define it, then press Ctrl F8 and 1, then 6 for very large. We'll skip the rest of the headings and go to the bottom of the page. We will block define the last 2 lines from the centered family picnic to the end of West Lake Lodge. We again press Ctrl F8. We select size, and this time 7 or E for extra large. In the paragraph above these last lines is a list of names. We'll block define this listing. Now we use Ctrl F8, choose size, and this time we pick number 4, or S for small. Now we'll look at this document in our Shift F7 Print View menu. When we use the text size attributes from the Ctrl F8 font menu, we're telling WordPerfect to take its best guess at what is small, large, extra large, and so forth. In our case, we selected the 12-point Dutch bold font. WordPerfect then uses percentages to guess what is large, extra large, small, very large, and so forth. This method is easy because we don't have to worry about naming the fonts. We let WordPerfect take care of the font naming for us. However, for the most precision, we select fonts by their names and point sizes from the base font menu. Another advantage of using the size function in WordPerfect is that the document can be printed on any other WordPerfect user system. If the other user does not have a laser printer, the program will make a best guess of the font sizes you have chosen.
WordPerfect and your laser printer excel in the printing of forms. You can create a form on the computer that you or another user can fill in and then print out. We've created a simple form using the tables function of WordPerfect under the file name form.txt.
We have the form.txt document on our screen. Notice it's just a simple form made with WordPerfect's table function, asking for a person's basic information. This isn't fancy and only took a few minutes to create from scratch. To use this as a form, we fill in the blanks in the table we have on the screen. We can use the tab to move around the table, or we can use the arrow keys. We go through and enter the information as requested. When we're finished, we can save this file as a different name. For example, we could file the completed form by zip codes, towns, or initials of the people filling them out. By saving each one individually and keeping the original file empty, we can use the first form over and over. Now, if we want, we can look at this in view or print it out to see how it looks. This form is very simple, but you can see how WordPerfect and your laser printer make even the most basic printed materials stand out.
You can also use WordPerfect and your laser printer to make forms that are filled in by hand or by typewriter.
Creating and using forms is covered more thoroughly in the ViaGrafix training tape, WordPerfect for the Office. Let's have some fun now with our laser printer and graphics. First, we want to view the graphics files included with the WordPerfect program. To do this, we press Alt F9 and then 1 or F for figure. We press 1 or C for Create. And at the Definition figure screen, we can press 1 or F for File Name, and then press F5, List Files. We have our graphics in a special subdirectory called Graphics. If you haven't set up your system this way, change the extension at the directory prompt to WPG. When we have the directory listing the way we want it, we press Enter. Next, we see a List File screen of all the pictures that came with the WordPerfect program. We retrieve these files just like our text files, highlighting the one we want, in this case, balloons.wpg. We then press 1 or R for Retrieve. The balloon graphic has now been placed in the file namespace at the top of the Definition figure screen. We press F7 and see the top part of a box with the characters Fig 1 at the top of the editing screen. Let's view the document and see how it looks. Our balloons are located in a box at the upper right-hand corner of the page. It was placed here by the WordPerfect defaults. We'll press Cancel and go to the WordPerfect print menu. Now we can print the full document to see how our laser printer handles graphics. While we're printing, look at the Options menu on the print screen. Next to the letter G is the Graphics Quality option. WordPerfect can tell the laser printer to not print the graphics or print them at any of 3 resolutions: draft, medium, and high. When we're printing our final documents, we generally want the highest resolution possible. But if we're in a rush and are working with rough drafts, we can set the graphics quality to draft and speed up the printing process. Our balloons have finished printing now. Let's take a look at the final product. Using graphic images in WordPerfect is really only limited by your imagination and one other criteria: memory. A full-page graphic requires about 1 megabyte of laser printer memory. Most laser printers come with about half this amount from the factory. If you're going to be working with graphics-intensive documents, you should consider increasing your memory to at least 1 megabyte. If your laser printer is used in a networking situation, you'll probably want to increase the memory to 2 or even 4 megabytes. Our facelift program comes with 3 special character sets. These are the Bitstream International Character Set, or BICS, the Bitstream International Symbol Set, BISS, and the Dingbats Character Set. To use these special characters, we have to use WordPerfect's Compose feature. First, we look in our facelift manual for a listing of the character sets. Each character is assigned a number. Here we have the International Character Set. If we want to use the uppercase E with an umlaut or the dots, we need to tell WordPerfect the number, 1,44. To do this, we hold down the Control key and press the V key. Then we enter the character set number, in this case 1. Then we place the comma, then the character number, 44. When we press Enter, the special character is placed in our document. We can also do this with the other character sets. WordPerfect is a wonderful word processor and an adequate desktop publishing tool too. The best way to learn about advanced graphics and text functions in WordPerfect is with the ViaGrafix tape using WordPerfect for desktop publishing.
We've covered a lot of material in this videotape. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't. You can always rewind the tape and review a section until you get it right.
This concludes this video tutorial, WordPerfect and your laser printer.
We at ViaGrafix would like to thank you for choosing our company for your software training needs. Remember, if you plan to learn WordPerfect or any other software, there is no better way than through video training from ViaGrafix.